Well, my name is Kurp, and I derp petite derp. Oh, won't you come and derp with me?
With Kurp. What a great derp I got for you today. I got Gary Wayne, and I got his co-host from, what's it called, Space Water? Let me fix this background. It's really creeping me out. I thought it was going to be funny, and I look at these two liver-spotted lizard people, and it's gross. It's gross.
That is crazy.
How about a nice Joaquin and Boaz pillars?
Even worse.
How about the pillars of Joaquin and Boaz instead of that? You follow that story? This is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen. Again, I can't say it enough, and no, you guys don't have to endure it because I have friends that have friends, but if you think anybody at TPUSA is a Christian and not some kind of Luciferian, I don't think you read the book. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, speaking of a guy who read the book, is Gary Wayne's here, who I've been wanting to get for a while. Is it R.A. Castaldo? And I'm calling you Ra Castaldo?
Yeah, that's just like an acronym nickname. My real name's Raffaele Antonio.
Oh, so you're not going by the Egyptian sun god name. It's no. R.A.
Yeah, it's a raw Italian name. The American way would be Ralph Anthony.
Okay, that makes I was like, why is Gary hanging out with a guy who calls himself Ra?
It's a nickname. I mean, you're the Judge Kurp, right?
Oh yeah, no, this is a complete fraud. I'm not a judge of any kind. I was, because people are gonna request, but you know Jeffrey Mishlove. You ever seen Jeffrey Mishlove from that? Hey, well, I understand you're an Egyptian god.
I do know who you're talking about.
Not enough people know who it is, and I feel bad because the man's done nothing to me for me to mock him. But it's gonna help his channel, I guess, right?
He had a lot of interviews back in the day. I seen a lot of his old interviews a long time ago.
Well, I had Jason Giorgiani on here, and he said that guy took all the interviews he had down for whatever reason. Things are getting real weird out here, man. Okay, so if those of you who don't know in the audience, if you've never seen Gary's work, he wrote the Genesis 6 conspiracy. I haven't listened to the second one yet. I just got the second one on my audio books, but man, is that good research. And so I was raised Jehovah's Witness. I always everybody gets baptized is like, I think that's when you're ordained. Like I had to fill a minister deferment on my selective service and what have you. And then I fell away from that, and I would say I was an atheist, but now, because of the level of extreme legalistic evil that I have to see on a news show every day, it actually made me believe in God. Because I don't get why these people would be so legalistic if there was no God. I just don't get, the Epstein files. Have you guys read them? Don't spoil it if you have. I haven't finished it. But so far, it's nothing but black boxes on every page. And I'm like, why did you bother? Just Xerox copy one page if you're just going to cover it, But no, they went and individually covered every line. And we know because somebody screwed up and made it so you could remove the black lines in Photoshop or something. So some of them weren't covered because they did it in such a hurry. And that's just so bizarre to me that you're going to have that level of criminality. And yet you have to follow. That just to me implies there's some higher power that these people believe in. And or just any physicist will tell you they love symmetry and balance. And I mean, the level of the weird crap that I found out in the last 2 years, it's so beyond anything I imagine. And that's why I like Gary's work. And how did you get into this, Gary? Like where you started really diving deep in that?
Yeah, no, it was backed my way into it. Not was what I was ever thought I would do. So it sort of comes about, and I'll keep this as short as I can, but I took a challenge to read a book on written by Hal Lindsey on end time prophecy, and I read it, scared the socks off of me. So then, and I wasn't a Christian at that time, so I had to research the Bible to figure out whether or not he was telling the truth or not. So the only way you can do that is research the Bible in depth, right? Mm-hmm. So I get there and I'm doing all of this research, and all of a sudden you get to Genesis 6 and you get into giants and really crazy stuff, and I've got cognizant dissonance and stuff like that. I don't want anything to do with it. But as I continued to do the research, and I was aware of some connections, but not sort of the detail of those connections in terms of other cultures on giants and religions, and they all tell the same story. So I thought I'd put a little bit of that in when I decided to go write a book on this prophecy book that I was planning to do, and connect the days of Noah with Revelation was sort of the initial concept. And then I thought I needed to get into the understanding of the culture of these societies all around the world. And I realized that means I have to understand the religion. So now I got to read all of that
Right.
because I want to
Right.
connect it in for Christians, right? So that they have a
Uh-huh.
better understanding. And then I realized they produced the mystery schools that educated the elite, the Indo-Aryans, the giants, not the humans, right? They use them.
Yeah, right. Oh, just small
Right?
tidbit that Chris
Yeah.
Knowles told me when he was on. They were always called mystery religions, but apparently mystery schools, that specific term, this is not a huge deal, by the way.
Yeah.
Madame Blavatsky made that up. It was never called a school until her. I was just told recently, but
Writings
I
are
differently.
Yeah, writings are older than that with the but she did use the term, maybe
Mhm.
popularized it,
Yes.
but they came out of the mystery religions who did the education, right? And
Yeah.
Whether
so
it's an ashram or a school or whatever, it's, you know.
yeah. So
It's
what
like a
got me
populist version of pharaonic mind control that the common man can be part of.
Yeah. So what got me into the secret society aspect of it was that mystery schools produced the original secret societies. And then once I did the research on that, I took it all the way back to Genesis and the
Mhm.
creation of the giants. And then I spent about 10 years into that trying to figure it out because there's just this massive amount of material out there if you know what you're looking for. You could be down there forever. So not what I wanted to sort of
Right.
originally do. And then I realized this is how the whole world works once you put those pieces together.
Yeah, I know. Yep. It really is one repeating pattern of, just look, the different. I don't say I'm Christian ever. So I try to sometimes I try to act like it, and then a lot of times I don't. So I would feel bad announcing my. I just feel I have such a aversion to somebody being a hypocrite at me. It really it's enraging now, especially when you see stuff going on. And I just because I'm on a news show and I'm watching the grotesque. And by the way, none of the news that you get, Fox, I mean, you probably already know that, but none of them. It's all completely controlled by these various societies, which the CIA I count as, and all of Intel I count as. It's all kind of coven to me. And one thing I didn't appreciate enough about Christianity, if you're in it, it's the real. And if if you're following it, to me, it's not a secret what you believe. You don't have to pay money and go up a ladder. They just tell you up front, you could do this or you don't do this. I really appreciate that because every other thing is Scientology all the time. It's just really getting sickening.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And it's really one of the great tactics of how they control the world, particularly in the more modern age, is they use poles apart positions, parties, organizations, religions, and then they try and cattle herd you from those poles apart positions into the destination where they want you to be in terms of your thought process.
Oh yeah, completely secular on Jimmy's show. That is what we're trying to explain to people. You better get past this left or right thing because it's not. If you notice, and they DARPA, by the way, studied this. Apparently, that black and white Masonic checkerboard, why that symbology is really important for their uses, is when things are binary, black and white like that, your brain, which is very taxing energy wise in a human body, it uses way less energy. So your brain can't wait to divide a thing into an either or category. So they took all this stuff like, politics, which is a spectrum. It's not either or. It's not the other side and then my side, the bad side and then me. That's a thing with nuance. They took literally, I think, probably one of the few things in the world that is binary, which is gender, and they turned that into a spectrum. So that way you can have your whole day wasted thinking about nonsense. And you never bother to look. And then now that Trump has betrayed everyone which I was warned, but I didn't want to, I didn't believe in him. I just hoped he talked a good game a little bit,
Well, yeah,
but,
I was hoping he would slow things down, not speed things up. But on your chessboard analogy, this might open a few eyes out there. Is yes, it's a duality in terms of the binary black and white, but duality also on both ends of the chessboard. And you have an organizational structure of the top two classes there with the fodder, the humans as the pawns out front, and then you have their organizational structure with their kings, queens, their military organizations, their bishops, and within it, and that is a reflection of the heavenly realm and the heavenly duality war that goes on perpetually. So when you're looking at all of the background pieces, these are representing the angelic order, both loyal and disloyal.
And what's the name of the game?
Chess.
No.
Kidding.
Let me write that down real quick. No,
Yeah.
it comes from a more ancient game, right? Because it comes out of Persia or something, but there's
Yes.
also an Asian version.
Yeah, it is. So
Yeah.
it has. I don't recall that name, but it does go back, and they used to use elephants and other types of things because there was different,
Yeah.
and particularly with that position with the knight, and also chariots, right? As you take that further back, so it has a lot of different names, and then the sort of the pièce de resistance on it is they have in their imagery Satan and God playing chess together perpetually because it never ends.
Yeah, and that this is the thing. My buddy. I don't know if you've seen Duncan Trussell. He's a friend of mine. We got another podcast called Mystery Boys, which is a little more purely comedic, But this thing where they equate, and I just said this when I never thought I was an atheist, but even at the height of me not believing any of it, I never thought that Satan and God were brothers or enemies, or they always got this thing where it's like they're in a battle. I look at it as like God being an author of a book. So if you want to take George R.R. Martin, he's not afraid of the mountain bad guy from his book. That's a character in his book. Now his characters have to be afraid of him, but the author of the book isn't afraid of him, And so this like false thing where they're all equal forces, and it's almost like a dimensionality thing. Like they got to get you to think like a dog, kind of a little more two-dimensional. And they don't want you to think in like 3D. And what I liked about your stuff was you did syncretism. I've never seen anybody do a thing where they're approaching it that they believe in it. I think this is literally true, but I'm still going to do all the syncretism and check out the theme, because I'm always big on trying to find themes. What are the repeating themes? And I think you did a great job. I mean, it's fascinating to me. I wanted to ask RA something though, because I was watching you guys earlier today before talking about Zoroaster.
Yeah.
You might have been a giant, and I know that's at India. And I had Jason Giorgiani on, who's a big Indo-Aryan. He's got a bunch of interesting stuff in it. It's weird the coincidences across a lot of people's viewpoints with this. But the thing I was looking up very briefly about you, RA, was your Strega bloodline, which I've heard of that before. It means something like a owl screech or something, doesn't it? Doesn't the word mean something?
Well, the actual word comes from Latin strix, which means screech owl, but it's a general term. Basically, I come from like a long line from Italy that has, Christianity, Roman Catholicism, and mysticism, and blacksmiths, and all of that. And they were the ones that
blacksmiths. Did you say?
Yeah.
Why blacksmiths? Is that some of the Azazel?
Blacksmiths, and it sort of goes hand in hand with a lot of mysticism.
That's very interesting. I mean, it makes sense from stories, but I never heard that. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and they call in Italy the Vellas, which is like during times of the year they would gather during the fire, and they would pass down stories that had to do sort of like mythology that carried knowledge of nature and the universe. But over time, these became like archaic rituals and then misunderstanding what these stories meant. And that's why I don't really believe in those rituals from the past. They're very archaic, and a lot of stuff. I don't really believe in organized religion, but I do believe in Christ. I was raised in Christianity, but I believe that Christ is being sent here to point us back the coordinates to heaven that we lost with the fall of man.
This is how I put it to everybody, because maybe it says Jim Carrey says, and Christ is merely a secretion of some kind.
And even and even though me and Gary, we come
secretion that goes down your. I'm watching him say this to Norm Macdonald on his podcast. The craziest thing I ever heard. Some Rosicrucian crap. And then it's like then they'll say the Christ consciousness. Well, I'm like, what does that mean? Am I the Kurp consciousness? Because what are you saying? And all I'm getting, the big impression I get is for some reason somebody doesn't want me to, I was already not going down the path of Christ. Okay. So the fact that somebody so much doesn't want me to know about it or think about it or have anything to do with it is very suspicious to me. Well, and now I've come to look at it as my free phone call officer. Officer, I know my rights. I know I'm entitled to a public defender, because Satan, the prosecutor, thinks he has a case. And I know, or I think of bill collectors that are unsavory and they don't want you to know your rights, that they're not allowed to harass you. That's how I think of how I put them in real economic terms a lot, and it makes it easy for me to grasp. So I don't care if, let's say, Jesus Christ is an egregor or whatever stupid nonsense. I don't care. I know you're afraid of it. Not you, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I going back to what you were saying about Zoroaster too. What people have you ever heard of like the Asuras and the Devas?
Mm-hmm.
So these are
One's which, and how do they relate to the ones in
all right. So
India?
you have basically the Asuras. They are like the warriors, the Kshatriyas,
Okay.
and you have the Brahmins, the priests. But
Oh,
these ancient
like Ash
adepts,
Patel and
yeah,
Vivek Pastrami, both Brahmins, the best.
prosciutto and melon.
That's the best.
So you know, but these adepts, they're warrior priests. They're not just shaman.
Mhm.
They're doctors, right? They're not just priests. They're warriors, and some of them were more priest minded, and some of them more warrior minded, and they went to war over the knowledge that they were harnessing from the stars. In the ancient Vedics, in the Rig Veda, they say they went to war over the cows, which means the rays of light.
Wait, so they're okay. So are they? You're telling me that this is? I mean, or this is what I think you just said. So the divination these idiots do all through history to get little UFO parts or whatever the hell they get out of it. That's what that is. A war over. They're contacting NHI who's giving them stuff, and then they're fighting over that. Is that how you're describing it, or am I being a little too
In
glib
some
with it?
ways, basically, like for the last 5 or 6 thousand years, humanity has been a Sura tribe, right? Dominated by warrior, drug addiction, greed, materialism, that sort of vibration. And you could see it in all the tribes. Gary will tell you, when you have the Assyrians, right? That's an Asura tribe. When you have
That
Osiris,
value from Valuetainment, he's an Assyrian.
yeah, right. All of them, they all come from that word Asura and Devas, right? They all
Right.
stem from this ancient, you know,
Mhm.
these ancient tribes, which can equivalent to the Nephilim bloodlines as well, if you look at it in the
Right.
Hebrew word terms.
Yeah, so look at the how the structure works on the polytheist side is dualistic with good versus evil. There's a macro, then there's the with God and Satan, and then there's the micro
Right.
within. And so you have good
Hermetic stuff,
witches,
yeah.
evil witches. You have white magic. You have black magic,
Yeah.
and there are rivalries between them. And even
Mhm.
though they're grouped into two portions, they still have the same destiny in mind and they still worship the same pantheon of gods. So we want to be careful when people are talking about white hats look after our better interests
Oh my
versus the
God.
dark hats, because it's the same coin, right?
Yeah. Well, see you in Valhalla, brother, as the great as the great Brahmin said to the supposed Christian, I'll see you in Valhalla for some reason.
Yeah.
Is all.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Interesting as you think about it. And look at Zoroaster as the Eastern version of Hermes Trismegistus.
So don't look at him like Moses, which I was told to look at him as.
No.
Or do they think Moses is that?
Yeah, I mean, Moses is regarded as one of the ones who came, but they look at Hermes and the Trismegistus as being 3 times Hermes or 3 different individuals. So it's a larger sort of mythos. And so
What is it, an avatar each time, you mean? Or just like they're
different individuals, but each of them were probably an avatar of an avatar.
Will you explain that real quick to people? Because I saw you talk about it, and I had never heard any of this before, and it was really interesting.
So the best example I can give is that people will understand, because Buddha is considered in the same sort of group, right? And so he was an avatar as a human with a spirit in his oiketerion, a soul and a body, right? And Vishnu becomes an incarnation, a Christ consciousness within Buddha, and supplies the knowledge to start the religion. So when we're looking at an avatar relationship, it's different than demonic possession. One's by a god that's more symbiotic, and one is more, I'm taking over the host, right? And suppressing the host. So when we look at the Trismegistus of Hermes, there's 2 different versions of the 3, but I'll shortcut it here. Let's look at it as an individual bloodline of the giants before the flood and a god, right? Or you could pick a human there, as in Enoch, son of Cain, but the polytheists believe he's a giant anyway. So you kind of arrive at the same group from the polytheist side. And then you have one after the flood. That's different. And he's going to restart the religion after the flood. And the religion before the flood and after the flood is Zoroastrianism. That we would know, right? And
Really?
it's the sister version. It's the Persian version of the Sanskrit. It's the same religion.
And
Two
they're
different groups are starting it after the flood. And Chem Zarathustra is said to be in the Gnostic circles Ham. Chem being C-H-E or A-M is pronounced as an H sound there. And Zarathustra, who begins this new religion at Babel from the Hermes that discovers the knowledge of the ancient world and the religion and brings it back to Nimrod. So you've either got him as Hermes as well in a different version, or he's handed the knowledge from Hermes.
Hermes keeps bringing them that knowledge they lose when God wipes their things out. And that's why he's great.
Yeah, he discovers the two pillars of Lamech or Enoch buried underneath the Great Pyramid in the Polychronicon and the history of Freemasonry.
Yeah,
now,
even in Greek, he's the one who takes the fire and sends it to Earth.
Yeah, in the Sanskrit version,
right.
In the Sanskrit version, you have Garamond, who receives this knowledge from an astra, a star, an angel, thus the name. It's a compound word that's going to form Zoroaster. And he's a giant before the flood. Now you have another Zoroaster who either A, survives the flood, or is a new individual like Ham or like Zoroaster. Let's say like Ham in Babel, or you're going to have another individual there. And then he starts Zoroastrianism in the Indus Valley in the Sanskrit version. And then downstream, you have another Zoroaster. Some place them at 11 or 1200 BC, some place them at 600 BC, but you have the same Trismegistus thing going on. And what's interesting as I trace it back in book 1 is Enoch would be who we might understand, son of Cain, who is developing this knowledge, and he becomes like a god. So he's equated with these individuals like Thoth, who become a god through the knowledge. And that's the same sort of story that's repeated in all the different cultures.
And you see, Kurt, how like Zoroaster, he worships Ahura Mazda. Ahura is the sound shift from Asura tribe. They're an Asura warrior tribe.
Oh, well, I've heard. So Tracy Twyman, who's, I had one of the people on the research sheet on this is wild. And I look at everybody's stuff, and that stupid Baphomet drawing, the two snakes is a white and a black one. She said she thought were Ahura Mazda, and the other one that they talk about are those in the belly. That's what those snakes represent. Then I see Nathan.
That was invented way later, that Baphomet drawing.
I know, but that's what those represent is what. And she brought up. I mean, this is I still can't get over it. I can't, because it's like you're watching a horror movie where you're watching her talk to these entities.
I think it's a duality. They can be multiple things. Like even that twisting loops, they can be like magnetic field lines that form the.
Nathan Reynolds talked about having an experience that was so creepy with these two tall things, and I'm not gonna tell the story. It's on Tony Merkel's podcast. But I never heard. See, I just want to hear a new story I haven't heard before, or some new thing, and I don't want to be bored. That's all. And so people that are like actively trying to lie to me or do whatever, a lot of times are boring.
Yeah,
so
you know
every
what?
time I hear new information, I'm like, oh.
A lot of people in the field, they put on performances.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I don't trust like TV preacher voice, for example, on anybody. And some people I don't think, without saying people, some people I don't even think are bad, but I'm like, I wish you wouldn't do that. I wish you wouldn't do that Southern fried Bronamite nonsense, that stage show.
Would you like us to connect Baphomet to Zoroastrianism?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I asked, because I was wondering if you could do that.
So in Zoroastrianism, which is the Persian version versus the Sanskrit, and so you have a god named Mitra or Mithra, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of the main gods, and he's the one who is the transliteration for Lord Maitreya as the coming incarnation of the Antichrist. And it's a transliteration.
Oh, Maitreya, that's what that means.
Yeah. And
how did I not see that?
That's just the beginning. And Mitra is like a Shiva god, a destroyer god that comes at the end of every age where there's a destruction by fire that god brings and then regenerates. But in that end time period, he will incarnate into an individual that is sort of involved with the end of this age. So he'll be a avatar of the new Buddha or Lord Maitreya. when he comes, right? So now you start to see a bit of a connection. But who is this Mitra? Well, it comes from a Proto-Indo-Aryan or European word, Indo-European or Indo-Aryan, depending on what your preference is there, but it means a bond or an alliance or a covenant, which is what Antichrist does. He makes this covenant to start the last 7 years. But Mitra is also the branch religion that's in Rome that merges with Roman Catholicism, right?
And a Sanskrit god.
So
yeah. And Sanskrit god. Now, let me just finish on this.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Because there's a whole bunch of doors we could open here. The Templars worship the Baphomet god.
Right.
Okay, well, that's French for Father Mitra.
I have not heard this one before. That is very interesting.
And they understand Baphomet as the same god as Azazel, just as in Rosalind Chapel, they have him hung upside down with that Z with the pearls of wisdom, because he's the one who supplied most of the knowledge in the antediluvian world and all the arts and crafts of war as a destroyer god.
Or Pan.
Yeah, so now you have a Shiva, Mitra, Azazel, Abaddon, Apollyon connection as the destroyer god, who also, Abaddon and Apollyon, come up out of the abyss prison in Revelation 9 in the last 7 years.
Wait, Azazel's the one I like. That's my favorite part. Is he taught me the secrets of warfare and also makeup. Yeah. he does your makeup and also
and there's a duality. There's a duality with Azazel. You got Semyaza.
Yeah, well, now you know why Obama had to go with that gay guy as a call boy that time. He had to learn the old ways. The old. Okay, wait. That's crazy. Okay, just the thing about Father Mitra and where do you because I've heard like three, it means Zatbash cipher for Sophia. It means Muhammad, and possibly means an
it's two French words, Bapho and Mitra. That's how they put it together. They worship.
I've never heard anybody say it before.
Yeah. It actually comes from Vedic Sanskrit, the original.
Well, that I knew that because the Aryan thing. I mean, now they call it Indo-Aryan because I don't want to say Aryan, but that's like royal or something. And so you can see, and also these strange stories where three Persians got to show up everywhere. So Muhammad. The original, apparently, three Persians would show up in one of the hadiths, and he would go talk to them in private. Jesus is born, and the three magi got to come to see. Why do three Persians have to show up everywhere? There's something going on,
In Sanskrit, you have Mitra and Varuna that go hand in hand with each other, and they're like key Asura gods.
I remember years ago on, I want to say Geraldo, but on the talk shows, there was some guy who claimed the Messiah is here, Maitreya. This was the first time I ever heard Maitreya. I'm like 9. I think I was like, his name is Maitreya. And I'm like, what in the hell is Maitreya? What is that?
Yeah, he was debunked pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, didn't go nowhere.
But here's something interesting though. In 2025, that when a famous person, not at the same level of Blavatsky, but not that far behind, Alice Bailey, said 2025 was the entrance of Lord Maitreya.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and also 2025 last year was the beginning of the externalization of the hierarchy.
Do you ever read Michael Hoffman's Shadow Twilight Language book? And he calls it the externalization of the tulpa. I think it's like a kind of a jab at it.
Yeah.
Well, so my friend Richard Grove, I always call him my rabbi from Grand Theft World podcast. He saw me in Jimmy Dore show, and he's the one who kind of put me on to some real good info with Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. Which I tell everyone, because there's nothing religious, nothing. That's just dry, secular history of the New World Order conspiracy that they invited him. He got cosmic level clearance. So that doesn't do with aliens. It's just, above your president that's supposedly in charge, way above that, to go through the archives. And it's all that Cecil Rhodes creep. And I'm sure that goes back to even darker things. But the one we have were World War I, World War II. In fact, actually, not to go off topic, but do you think that Albert Pike Mazzini letter is real about how we have to have World War III? Have you ever looked at anything that made you feel one way or another, if that's a real or fake letter?
I think it's a plausible tactic that they'd like to see put into place, because if you're going to bring about a universal polytheist religion, Islam and Christianity are the two biggest stumbling blocks. So different tactics used for different groups. So Christianity can be easily dissuaded from within and take a lot of it with them. But with Islam, they're never going to, just as conservative Christians are never going to say Jesus isn't the Son of God, right? They're not parting on those types of things. So you have two different major forces between the Sunni and the Shia,
Right.
who have different sort of lineages in terms of who they think, why they think they should be the real Islamic religion. And they have the same Quran, but they have different hadiths, so they interpret it completely different through the hadiths.
Right.
Each one has a Mahdi.
What's a Mahdi?
Mahdi is an antichrist type figure.
Oh,
from a Christian perspective, but they would look at that as their Messiah. But they have one of each, and they're going to battle each other in their hadiths.
Oh, that's okay. So you're probably pronouncing it right, because I always said Mahdi because Mahdi. That's the word, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So remember that guy on YouTube that was going around? That was he called himself the Mahdi, and it's so clearly some psyop out of Britain. I don't know. It didn't go anywhere. And he always had a knit cap on, and he kept saying he's the Mahdi. And then I'd watch Christian channels, because I watch everything. I watch Christian channels go, oh, could this be this guy come? And I'm like, why are you promoting this stupid thing? It was like I'm watching WWE.
Yeah, what they're doing is getting silly Christians, because they know we have a tendency as a group, unfortunately, to jump on the flavor of the day and get ahead of end time chronology, right? So it's designed to discredit the biblical chronology for end time prophecy and to discredit Christians as a whole and prepare them for the great falling away into the universal religion that comes in the end time. It's just part of the tactics.
So am I wrong? Okay, I've been saying this, and I might be totally wrong, but I got, because I have friends that would remember when Caesar's Messiah came out, and I've heard this repeatedly. I always had a hard time believing that could possibly be true, because even today, a top-down thing that doesn't resonate like a thing that started grassroots that you could then appropriate and it'll do well. But these people are creative. I don't believe they came up with that and then gave it to the peasants, and the peasants, it took off. Like, I just don't believe that basic idea. But what I think it is it spread so fast, Christianity, it was populism. They hate populism, the people in charge. Populism is a dirty word for everybody not doing identity politics for 5 seconds. That's a dirty thing to them. Yeah. So I imagine this was like populism to them. And meanwhile, they also have these Mitra people, which I imagine them, and I could be wrong, like the Freemasons in the military of their time. Like everybody in the Roman military is in a secret group, right? And it's that one, and they got to do stupid initiations and some gay crap. And then so then they get a bright idea to just like merge it all together, like appropriate both things.
Yeah, I mean, what Constantine was doing was the same strategy that happened in Persia with Zoroastrian to unite the empire a few hundred years before.
He's taking a template that
right, and that's what he does. He says, I'm just going to create this new homogenized religion that appeals to everybody in all the different countries.
So it can be done. That's what what the leaders are saying. Because Alice Bailey, when I read Tragedy and Hope, I read Tragedy and Hope 101. I never read the full Tragedy. I read the one where the guy picked out all the interesting books. It's crazy, hard to read. Yeah. So Alice Bailey book is the spiritual version of that to me.
Yeah. So and again, they do it so subtly. They're very well organized in this, and they have a lot of experience over the millennia. So now, as Christianity get formed, and shortly after the Constantine merger, you have December 25, the birthday of Mithra, being celebrated for the birth of Jesus.
It is. Well, I was a Jehovah's Witness, so we were all down with and knew all about that.
But that just is not. It's not a coincidence, right?
It's not at all, right?
Yeah.
Did you have the green study books and the red Revelation study book?
Yeah, in fact, I dated a girl, and I realize now who was older than me, and I realized subconsciously she looked like the whore of Babylon from the book.
Yeah, I have that.
Wake up on. That's probably why I was attracted to her. Like,
I had an ex that was a Jehovah as well. I went to some of the study groups.
Well, I here's what I like about them, and admittedly, it was formed by some weird occultist from the Russell family. I had Blair White Russell on my show who explained it to me. But never joined the military because I don't think that's a Christian thing. I would never go fight in a war. And thank you, Joe's. I appreciate that. We didn't vote. We didn't get involved in politics. My kingdom's no part of this world. I saw Gary say this about how we get to sleep when we die. That's not a commonly taught thing. You know,
No, it's not.
what caught me, you know, even when I was like, I wouldn't say I was ever like, I was grateful for the things I was grateful for out of it. I always take what I think is good, and I'm happy to get that. But I didn't appreciate like, I don't know, like the level of inoculation against certain things I got out of that, because I had to be no part of this world, and so I didn't do birthdays and all that. There's a certain level of like mind control that's just not going to work on me. You can get me, but you got to get me a different way, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, once you get across that line of worship and into controlling of the people, you've crossed into a whole new zone. And I don't care whether it's Jehovah's Witnesses or other Christian religions that become too legalistic and start doing those things, or it's a polytheist cult. I don't care where it comes from. It's about control.
Yep.
And so you're seeing everything through a lens of how they want to describe the world and everything. So it's not about the scripture.
I just want to hear what's in the thing. Like
control.
I like learning all this stuff, and I'm highly interested in it, and I light right up. And doctrination bores the hell out of me. It just bores me so much to be indoctrinated. I hated school. I hated, except the parts where I could read something interesting. I was in that gay program. I don't think nothing happened to me, but I also can't remember any of it. So
that's why it doesn't really come natural. It has to be forced upon us.
Yeah, the control thing is what I automatically, and every time I really like Nathan. And his stories are wild, man, from being in that family. But I'm watching how people talk. So I watch Gary Wayne talk. Very humble. I mean, it's very humble, like the thing I thought a Christian should be. So that affects people. Nathan, same thing. Nathan is one of the few people I saw when this open air genocide they just did in a certain Middle Eastern country. Nathan called it out. Nathan said that's not Amalek. Them kids are starving. They're not Amalek. So I'm watching a guy be a real Christian and not tell me lies. And as soon as I watch this, like, repulsive. Oh, you brought up Hal Lindsey. I love the Megiddo Code Part 2 with Michael York as the Antichrist. It's a real. I think Michael York wrote a book about it. His diary of that. Hal Lindsey, I think he's out of that same school of psyop. Christianity. Like, there's this whole bizarre strain. Did you know the Pentecostals in America, where they came from? Who brought them over? The Kardashian family. What? Like, that sounds like I made it up. No, I didn't. Avok Hagobian.
Well, one of the things that we should keep in mind is the organizational structure throughout history is the top two classes descended from the giants control all of the religions with their bloodlines. As they got control of the Pope bloodlines in Roman Catholicism and the black nobility of the popes. So they get control of the organizations because they're the only ones who are educated. They didn't educate the bottom two classes until just recently in our history.
And even then, it's more of psychological control than trying to teach you things. Yeah. Wow. Well, I think you're very right about the four-class system, feudalism always being the system. Yeah. I mean, every time I look at everything, like, everybody has one system they do. They can call it whatever they want, but there's always the priest and the king and the artists and the peasants. That's it.
You have it on the First Nations in North America.
Wow.
It's everywhere. It's the same system. You have bloodline chiefs, you have bloodline priests, you have a slave class, and you have another class.
And now they're hoping the AI can get rid of the artisan class. They were hoping they get us all to just get to a nice 3-class system with the AI, but I don't think it works how they said.
Yeah, and the Brahmins were a bloodline of priests. Of a specific line of the nobility, and understand that nobility is the definition for the word Aryan.
I knew that, but I didn't know it for some reason. I just said earlier, but I don't know why it didn't occur to me. Like, just call them Aryans, call King Charles and all of them Aryans. That's a great.
Yeah, they're calling themselves the nobility. Yeah,
so
they're not hiding it. Yeah. They know how to dumb us down.
It still works on me to this day, and I'm a little ahead of the class, and I'm still like, I don't think I'm so much smarter than people. It's just you can't fool me for like 20 years straight. You can fool me for a while, but like I'm not gonna fall for the same trick every time. I have like some sense. Yeah, that's right. They're all the air. Well, Obama's
when you-
related to him, and Bush, and they're all related. That's
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
and they call themselves elite, elites.
Oh, I like
EL,
Aleem, that one you said, Aleem with an
elite,
M.
in the pure blood sense in the beginning. Like El is the Hebrew word for an angel or a god.
God, yeah. And
So-
just like with the nobility word with Aryan, like Asura and Deva, those words, the Aryans, they mean like Asura means like something like Almighty Lord.
Mhm.
And Deva is like the shining one, the almighty shining one, you know?
Oh
So-
boy, they're shiny, aren't they? Always shiny. Always a Hollywood bright,
Like a
bright
star.
star.
Yeah,
Yep.
a
A
star.
Hollywood, you could be okay. So I had a couple of things I wrote down because I'm a terrible interviewer and I didn't want to forget. And I'm going to ask him. So my friend from Windows on the World, Mark Windows, who has a great video about Egyptian crowd control, all about this corrupt priest class that would dress the pharaoh up like an idiot and have him doing these stupid rituals. So he's not really ruling; he's just preparing for his death the whole time, while the priests are running things, right? And he described a society run by OCD at the end of the day. And he this book, Dissipation of the Darkness. Are you familiar with it? It's free online. It's from 1825.
Nope.
Okay, so he says he thinks is the origin of the Freemasons or the Masons. Okay, now I would have dismissed this book had I not seen a bunch of other stuff first. Okay? And I read it, and Herod Agrippa is supposedly in this book who founded it with 8 of his Babylonian black magic friends or something, and they called themselves the Nine. That's what really stuck out to me. You ever hear the Nine? I hear about him all the time. This book from 1825 where the author's dead now.
Yeah.
There's some converso that
Harwich and his group were channeling the Nine.
Yeah. So, and my friend Nathaniel Gillis, who's a demonologist, him and Steve Merritt.
Phyllis Schlemmer was one of the names.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says that these the aliens, he's calling them like necromancers, because this thing of putting an implant in people goes back a long way. And Herod Agrippa, I know independently from this book, was doing that. He was big on sigil magic. And this thing where you put a stone, and then it sounds like you describing, Gary, how they had to try to reproduce, Nephilim, because they, how you get the just the physicality of it. It seems a little hard with a giant, and it's real creepy. And then I'm watching Whitley Strieber. Okay, this is when I started doing a Jeffrey Mishlove impression because it was so creepy what I'm watching. And I watch Whitley Strieber all the time because he'll tell you a lot.
Too, that guy.
Well, tell me you're a necromancer without telling me, man. I mean, you're talking to your dead wife, these disgusting things that I don't know what I'm allowed to say, graped you in your words, and I believe you. You wouldn't call it a pill if a Puerto Rican did it to you.
I think that guy's a phony, actually.
Well, he was in MK Ultra, and that's his own words.
I think he made up that whole encounter in Middletown, New York, because his wife caught him in having a gay encounter, and he made it up on the aliens.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because he has some book I didn't know about with his buddy where they talk about these stories and myths of the gods coming to these king's daughters, but it's actually their dad, and they put in a fake memory over it of it being the gods.
Yeah,
he's actually written about it. I think he's a program multiples, I think.
His wife was best friends with the family doctor when he first came out with it, because he was he was writing supernatural novels before he came out with the alien thing.
Yeah, he's got Air Force. Look, a bunch of these people are programmed. I don't know. There's got to be millions of these people kicking around. I mean, they did this to a lot of people, and he's clearly supposed to be the prophet because communion. He's like, well, these things, they can't. He said he asked what'd you say?
He's exploiting his dead wife.
Well, look, he might be a total scumbag. I'll listen to everybody's story. I just want to hear every detail of it, and you could lie to me, dude. I just want to hear something interesting, because if you tell me something interesting, I won't ever forget it. And then I have something to ping off of when I find out other information. But he asked one of these things, the old lady that did assaulted him, of this gray alien, which he's the first guy to bring up that weird template of alien. I know Crowley's thing was a llama. It wasn't supposed to be a gray alien. It was the llama of Lang, he said.
Yeah, it was lamb or something. Yeah.
Yeah, llama.
Betty Hill was drawing something similar way before that too.
Yeah, well, it turns out Crowley and all these creeps, they've been passing this down for a while. But anyway, he said, what is the universe to you? And it said, it showed him a picture of a coffin in his mind. And so he wants us to have communion with these things. So let me get this straight. You're in touch with these disgusting transhumans from the future past, it's meaningless at that point. Once you're out of the time stream, it's the same thing, and they can't experience novelty anymore. And they're addicts to. That's how he puts it. They're addicted to us. I mean, you're talking to me about like, I'm getting dog walk back to demons right now from the Bible with what he's saying, right?
Yeah,
and I'm supposed to commune with. I don't want to commune with that thing. What are you talking about?
It also depends, I think, on the time. Maybe 100 years ago, they would have called them fairies.
Yeah.
Well, the Fae is just the bloodline of those royals, right? It's just Aryan.
It's a separate bloodline as offspring of the gods.
Yeah. Oh, that reminded me. You were the first guy that I realized we were talking about Tolkien and C.S. Lewis.
Yes. Which he's telling an antediluvian before the flood story. And in fact, and all these different creatures that are in there, they sail off in this boat at the end of the trilogy because now it's the age of men.
Wow.
Yeah, even a lot of the nursery rhymes we have, like fee fi fo fum, I could smell the blood. Like, it's literally, if you got something so large like a giant, they would have heightened senses, like supernatural. Like a grizzly bear has heightened sense to us, right? Like their smell. Well, if you had a giant, maybe he could smell out what genetics you had in you, and they were hunting certain humans with certain
dogs to smell cancer and stuff, you know.
Yeah, exactly, Kurt. Yes.
We better say, Gary.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say is that all of these types of beings that show up in fairy tales. Fairy tale is just one of the literature coming from the polytheists that shows their history, their belief system, their genealogies, and so you have things in there like the hobbits, right, who make the weapons for the demigods. Well, who are the demigods in Lord of the Rings? Well, these are the white elves. White elves are larger than the little people. You have dark elves, which are small, which are part of the ugly ones, like the hobbits, like the gnomes, which are the greys, by the way, in the alien mythos, and and you also have trolls and other ones that are in there. But the white elves are the ones that are identical to the riders of the Shea painting, which is spelled S-I-D-H-E, pronounced Seed, Shea, Sedais, a whole bunch of different ways. Same
That's
word.
not where they're hunting a unicorn, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're on the hunt. They got these serpents all over them. They got horses with a unicorn head on it.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Right.
I knew it was one of them.
These are the Tuatha De Danann, who are the fair folk, offspring of the gods, right? Everything around the allegory is in there, but they just portray them in a way that they know you're not going to recognize, but they give you everything in there that you would want to know. I mean, they have blonde hair and red hair. They have blue eyes and hazel eyes, pale skin. I mean, you can't not make the association unless you've been dumbed down to say, no, that's just some interesting thing that they made up. And there's nothing to do with an antediluvian age there, except it has everything to do with that age that was going to be destroyed by war unless the flood came, which is exactly what's going on in Lord of the Rings.
Okay, that's why I wrote this question down, because I don't remember. I couldn't go back. I watch a lot of your videos, man, a lot of stuff, and you brought up about the flood. And so when I brought up Tracy Twyman before, who was communicating with Cain, supposedly, on her really creepiest story. And Cain, so you said, well, did God actually do the flood, or did he allow them in their war? So you said something like that.
Yeah, because it's because the first thing I like to do, particularly for Christians, is don't let the polytheists say we have an evil God because he brought the flood. In all of all of the accounts in polytheism, and they've got it in every culture, it's their own gods that bring the flood. What we do know is God permits the flood or brings it. You can have whatever position you want, but from a religious perspective, it wouldn't be clear from that. But in the polytheist versions, they want to wipe out the humans because they're too noisy.
Right.
And their offspring has become too evil, and they're actually rebelling against them. So they want to take care of it. So now, as things are moving towards the flood with war, they have the ability to destroy the world by fire, because we're just catching up to that technology today, so that it'll be like the days of Noah in the end time. And they had all of this knowledge provided to them by the gods, which and Azazel taught all of the arts and crafts of war to them. All of it, including the technology.
Including fifth generational, what they do to you online warfare. The one now they lie so frantically. I couldn't figure out why, how I mean, the operations now are very clumsy and rushed.
Yeah.
And we're covering all the time. And I didn't know about OODA loops, and that's what they're into, and 5Gen.
Yeah.
I just summarized their stupid plan. You just throw as much crap out as you can before the enemy can say their thing, and they think that makes you win. And that's why it looks so sloppy and unorganized.
Yeah,
Observe,
exactly.
orient, something from the Air Force in flying, but they make it for.
Yep.
But yeah.
And I'll just finish and cap this off from what I was saying, is that in 2 Peter 3, the destruction by fire is reserved for the end time.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So there's an intercession here so that all the names in the book of life can be fulfilled on God's timetable. And what's interesting as well is in the Masonic Gnostic versions of the flood is they create these 2 pillars of Lamech and Enoch that I talked about earlier, right? And that they create one that's designed to survive a destruction by fire and one to float. What that's telling us is they knew destruction was coming. They didn't know which one.
I mean, it's like now where that stupid Scientology vault, or there's a Mormon vault just in case the end time for their precious stupid occult teachings to be safe. It's really a very repeating pattern that creeps me out.
Same story all around the world.
So she, in her, I think it's in the Clock Shavings book, and this is when she was still messing. And I've never seen anybody do something like this where they just start doing Ouija, and then she's like, because a Christian, people that believe in it won't. A Christian's not going to do it. She was agnostic. She's like, I just want to see what it is. And she knows someone's divining, and the Templars probably divined banking from playing around with a skull.
Yeah.
And community NHI. And so then first she's trying to talk to some Frenchman Cocteau from the Anjou, some shit like that. Then she's talking to Cain, who is trapped in the underworld in a black sun that's shaped like the Superman. I'm really including a lot of wacky stuff in once, but it's very interesting. Well, Cain told her that the flood, this before I heard you say this, Gary, I heard this where I'm like, this is a new one. Cain caused the flood, he said. He's a king, and the sons of Adams were making war on him to grab he called it the one box of things. And it was something where it's like ultimate power, some arc of some kind is ultimate power. So he flooded the earth, is the story he's telling her, where I'm like, that's bizarre. And then I'm like, when you told me that thing, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Because there are 2 creation. I see it. You're the first guy that I know of. I don't, maybe you're not the first guy, but you're the first one I saw who reconciled that. You know, I've only, when I was a kid, my friends like Hal Lindsey that were born agains, and I was a Jehovah, and we fight about it, you know, like we're comic book nerds. They would all be 6-day creation. And Jehovah's Witnesses had the day age theory, it used to be called, where it's like a day.
You have the Elohistic and the Jehovistic accounts too. The Elohistic and the Jehovistic accounts of man too. You know,
that's a good way to put it. So is YHWH, however you say, I guess Jehovah's not how you say it. Was that El Elyon? Okay.
No.
Who's the actual Most High God? Which one is that? Yah is not just a brother. Is he?
El was the Canaanites' supreme god, like El and Asherah.
So I heard El, but El Elyon, is that the same as El?
Yeah. So biblically, we have a tripart nature, right? So you have a bit of a hierarchy within that. So, and we're introduced to who these are in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. So you have Elohim that's speaking, even though that's plural, that's in the superlative sense. And
it's like a royal thing?
It's an individual. So Elohim there, depending on the application in Hebrew, you have to distinguish, is it singular? Or is it for gods or fallen angels, or is it for the tripart nature? But when God speaks, God said, that's the word. He's the light of Jesus, and I'll get to Jesus in a second. We have the Ruach of the Elohim, the Spirit of God in Genesis 1:2 that's introduced.
That moved over the surface, is that what you're talking about?
And Jesus is the light in Genesis 1:3, as well as the word when God speaks. And Jesus says in John 1 and in John 1 that he's the light that the darkness didn't recognize, right, in the beginning. So when we look at this, we are going to be introduced to Jehovah of the Elohim, as it's transliterated, the original tetragram of Yahweh, or that is in Lord God, which is Jehovah or Yahweh of the Elohim, We would
Okay.
understand that in the New Testament with the Greek cognate as Jesus is the Word of God, the Logos of Theos. It's the same term. He's the Jehovah of the Elohim. So now it's going to be Jehovah. Jehovah is just the J word coming in with Baconian language that's introduced at the time of the KJV Bible.
You explained that too. That really well. Because by the way, King James, who brought Freemasonry right to England, didn't he? And that's where we get Lucifer nonsense of
it came with him. He's way higher than a Freemason because he's a Royale. He's initiated to adepthood from childhood, right? Because he's a Royale. So when we look at how that works together, understand that we get the same components as another allegory in the New Testament as the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So Yahweh is the one who interacts with Adam and creates Adam in Genesis 2 and breathes into him, and all the details don't reconcile from day 6. And you can say, okay, well, that's additional information. Well, when the Bible adds additional information, it doesn't contradict itself. And we have all of the others open-ended questions if they are the same account, because you even have a different creation order there.
Right.
So and I won't go into litigate the whole thing because it takes about a show to do it. But I have a document if people want to get a hold of me. I send it to people. And I just walk through the language and show you all the differences.
Can I have that? I would like that, please.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah. And it answers the questions that people will have. It's like, why is the people in day 6, or are they created male and female in great numbers and told to spread out around the world and told to eat from any tree that they want, except that these are gatherers and Adam's an agrarian, and he can't eat from a single tree, and he's created in singular and put in the Garden of Eden. I'm just telling you things you already know, but it also answers questions about who does Cain find east of Eden in across from the Euphrates River, because Eden was from the Euphrates to the Nile River, from Mount Hermon to the Red Sea.
Right.
And he finds a wife when there should
they
be
told
nobody
us it was
else
a sister,
there.
Probably. I always thought it was a sister, probably.
Yeah, that's what
still
we're
didn't make
told.
sense.
But when you ask the hard question is how is that possible? She's not even mentioned. And in fact, we don't even have Seth born at this point in time.
Right. And he
was born when Adam was 130 years old, and sometimes later sons and daughters. And why would he build a city if there was just him and a sibling? He doesn't need a city. It makes no sense unless he's intermarrying with people that are already there.
Have you also heard, this is also in her talking to this, whatever the hell she was talking to, that she was getting an impression Enoch may be the name of the city Cain built or something.
Yeah, Hanoch, Hanoch is Enoch. Same word, just different transliterations.
Yeah.
So is there 2 Enochs, or is it a city he built and another guy? But you think that
2 Enochs and a city?
Enochs. Yeah.
That's a good show, 2 Enochs and a city. Okay, wait, I had a couple other questions because I'm going to forget.
Enoch, son of Cain, Enoch, son of Jared, and the city that Cain builds, he names after his son Enoch.
And then there's an Enosh too.
Yeah, and there's an Enosh, and there's 2 Lamechs.
It's nice of God to write the Bible. I wish you could have translated it too. All right, hold on, wait.
Well, the translators haven't done us a lot of favors in the translations. In a lot.
Well, there's a power advantage to could be in the translator, ain't there? And I mean, I'm sure a lot of sincere people. I don't think everybody who ever translated the Bible or whatever is up to no good, or they were working. Clearly, it's sacred to people. Yeah. But you could tell over the years somebody's got their own reason. And to this day, the amount of creepiness of Protestants and Catholics, weird underground intel wars, and the grossness it's produced is like really astonishing. And it's almost like a bacteria antibiotic cycle.
Yeah.
Or like dialectic, I guess the commies call it.
If they actually wanted to be transparent, you would translate like ham as CHAM or CHEM. I mean, vowelless would be, you don't have to worry about which the vowel is there. But when we look at, the chem of Mendes, where do you think that comes from?
Oh, Oh, wow.
Kim Zarathustra.
And that's like
Wow.
Azazel too.
Yeah.
This is like great stuff that I'm getting
That's
on.
why we don't get taught these different sort of spellings and how the occult uses these more original types of spellings, because we don't have the knowledge or the curiosity that they've taken away from us to dig in and figure these things out.
Well, it's like they did with plasma. You know, I'm always complaining about the fourth state of matter's plasma, and I didn't really learn that in school like that. Maybe somebody's school taught
That's
it.
my topic right there.
Well, because I think, you know,
We should do a show together on it.
Yeah. Oh, sure, dude. I'll talk plasma with you.
Sure.
So
You're muted.
Charles Hall talked about the tall whites. Okay, I don't know if you ever heard this story of the tall whites.
I have heard it.
No, I first heard, my memory is kind of good, even though it's like I've done my patriotic duty to try to kill it. I can't. So 2011, I'm reading in The Week, which used to be a good kind of collection of news aggregate thing when I lived in New York. And 2011, some Farsi language newspaper in Iran said that Obama's in league with aliens called the tall whites. And I was like, I've never heard of this. I've never heard of anything like this. Not the Nordics or the whatever who are just German. The tall whites. Couldn't find nothing. Then on lockdown, all of a sudden, I'm watching the testimony of Charles Hall. And he goes, nothing. They told me nothing I did is nothing is classified. I could tell you anything I want, but I couldn't take notes. I couldn't do this or that, or they would kill me. But I'm allowed to talk as much as I want. Cause you know, okay. So that's just interesting. He describes.
You know what's weird about that Charles Hall thing? I had a weird experience in the Golden Nugget in 2002 at like 3:00 in the morning in one of the casinos.
The Golden Nugget.
I'm not sure, dude. It was I thought the person was sick with cancer at the time, was really pale. But then when I heard the Charles Hall thing, I thought back and I'm like,
Vegas. I've heard, I mean, look, I don't know, you know, these are just interesting things. I don't know what's true or not, but I've heard them called working class Anunnakis to explain why they'd be at the Golden Nugget. So that's they're not Mandalay crowd. You understand?
Oh my God.
So by the way, Luxor is where that secret entrance is to go to wherever, Area 51. I should have guessed that pyramid is where they do it. That's a real creepy place, that place. Anyway, he's describing these and what took me aback was as soon as I hear any climate change nonsense, I'm really trying to swear, sorry, nonsense, I know the aliens are fake and you're giving me some Club of Rome drivel. Okay. So that's how one of my discernment of alien stuff. If the aliens are like, oh, they said Putin's bad. Watch Linda Moulton Howe talk about Ukraine and going about Putin. I'm like, are you who? So so these guys are talking. Charles Hall is saying how they're really white and really tall, like my producer Mark, who's 7 feet tall. I want to point out, Gary, maybe a Nephilim. He seems nice.
Rephaim.
He may be a Rephaim, and I accuse him. I j'accuse. Okay, he said there was no environmentalism with him, and they told him on most civilized worlds, the intelligent species wipes out all the other species that could possibly be a danger to them. That's usually what the civilized worlds do. Never heard that about spacemen before. They're very racist. Also, they looked at us as like we're. This is how he put it. We're as strong as gorillas compared to them, and we heal really fast compared to them. Really interesting things. But also, I'm like, I think I've heard this before. There's taller, whiter things in charge, is what you're telling me. Are you kidding? And it made me laugh so much that as a joke, I started looking into it. You understand? Just for humor purposes. Well, wouldn't you know it? It turns out there is this bizarre overlap between that and SRA. And then I started to notice, I worked in TV for years, dude. It's like a focus groups. I feel like I'm getting focus grouped here. Like they're going, which ending do you like better? You like Spacemen or the Angels? like God got sick of us and sold us to Disney, and Disney doesn't know how to end it, so they're doing focus groups to see which one's better. It just reeks of that to me, and I couldn't get past that. So now it's like I'm trying to, and you know, I don't know, I'm not famous or something, but I have enough of being known where I can reach out and meet people I want to meet and just get details I want to get, you know. And also I notice if I really want to know, I'll find out. If I really want to know.
When Mark told me your name, I thought you were a baseball player at first. I was like, Kurp Metzger. Oh, he's a baseball player, right?
Oh no, I have no coordination. My feet. Don't look at my feet. You'll think I'm Nephilim, dude. You'll think I'm a
baseball player at first. You sound like a baseball player name.
Well, this stupid fake name that I have of Kurp is because me and Kyle Dunnigan, he
Kurp
does impressions. Yeah, he does impressions, and I used to play. He used this thing called At Home with Sly Stallone, where he's Sly Stallone, and I'm his friend who's not famous that lives in his converted garage, like a Kato Kalin guy.
I used to do skits with my friends too.
Yeah, it would to show you. I mean, it's really and so he didn't know. And the joke was we're trying to think of a demean, like he's never learned my name. So he started calling me Kurp as like screw my name up. And then what we do on the live streams is we get the fans to like abuse. So Sly's like, he's really needy, but also wants to keep me below him like a real royale. And he doesn't like me doing comedy. He keeps kind of saying I do magic. He's, "Wait, you doing your magic career?" Like he always downs it. And he gets mad when I go on the road. It's just be fun. And then we'd have the listeners like gaslight me, like, "Wow, Kurp's being a real problem." Like people would be really funny. I don't know, it's just a good, this kind of stuff is. Oh, I should probably read super chats. She just reminded me. Sorry, I got really into it. I'm glad you guys came on.
Terp is as in terpene?
No, we were like, what's the dumbest variation of Kurt we could come up with? And Kyle came up with Kurp. It's so dumb, dude. Okay, wait. Let's see. Mark Plum says, this is peak derping material. I agree. You guys got derped real good today. Hell yeah, that's Huff that derpentine from in pounds. That'll be $4 when I go. Okay. Hemorrhoid says Sam going to gym. 5 a.m. going to the gym, then Kurt derped me. Well, I say skip the gym and hear out Gary Wayne and RA, not Raw, as I thought. Andre, I can't read your name, but thanks for the 50. Is it American money? Don't matter. Thank you. Guys, you should open wide your fourth eye. Now, that's a stupid term I made up to mock the homosexual rights of these groups. And allow the new thinking in. Make some room for the grays in your That's him making fun of Whitley. By the way, RA, what you just said, like, if something was dawning on me with Whitley, that's what it is. He's a gay guy. So we have real imaginations, don't they? Okay. But he was in MK Ultra, I'm pretty sure a lot of people were. I don't know what my grandfather was in worked for Boeing in World War II, German engineer of airplanes. In fact, his best friend died making Flight of the Phoenix, the original. The plane that they made in the original Flight of the Phoenix, apparently didn't fly so good, and his friend died in it. I have a big scrapbook. Okay, ask Lil Wayne if he's also on the SERP. I'm not on the SERP. That's a merch term. Don't do SERP. Okay.
Somebody's saying on there that we're to check your feet because you're a tall hobbit.
Come on, let me read the super chats before you guys mock me. Okay. Well, I got size 14. No, yeah, I got like 4 arms for feet. I'm not designed for speed. Kurt, what do you think about the people getting killed by ICE named Pretty and Good? Coincidence or a Pam Bondi Beach wordplay? Well, I don't know. I know the Pretty or Good, that woman was killed on 33rd Street. I'm really getting sick of this 33 thing coming up. I'm not into gematria and all that crap, okay? Someone commented when I had big homie CC on, if you had his letters together, it forms 33. I don't care. I barely want to accept this 33, but I think it's how they seal their spells. It's a psychological operation. The 33, some kind of seal on it.
Mount Herman.
I don't want to learn this stuff. I really didn't. You can't understand how heartbroken I am that the secret is not aliens, but in fact, Harry Potter crap. Okay. Also, that guy Petty got murdered, hands down. That's why Trump didn't back up the. All of you, when you see cops with masks on, that should be a big clue something's real wrong. Okay, and I know mind control is real because friends of mine who aren't dumb go, but they could be doxxed. So, what are you talking about? The cops have their name on their badge. The cops don't get to wear a burqa to hide who they are. Are you all insane? All right, who am I yelling at? Sorry. Kurp, any insight on the occult connections of Groundhog Day, Candlemas? It's the 33rd day of the year. I don't know at all. Do you guys know anything about that? Candlemas and Groundhog Day.
I don't know about the candle, but with Groundhog Day, I'm not sure.
I know. I don't believe Bill Murray became a good man like they try to make me. Okay. Let's see. Door Trap says, I remote view to make sure I'm done wiping. That's a great way to go about it. Right.
If you know the target, it's not really remote viewing, is it?
Okay. I think well, he's very tall, probably. I understand what you mean. Okay, I think Hillman might be right. Hebrew is a fraudulent language. Okay, the new Hebrew. My ex-girlfriend, who was Israeli but grew up here, who is very Zionist, very upsetting to me that I have to know the truth about Israel too. By the way, I don't want to. I didn't want to learn. I can't tell you how much I have to learn the truth, and I hate it. And I know it's like pulling a fingernail thing off, but I have no incentive to want to know the truth about that genocide they did, which I'm not comfortable even saying that word, but the guy that coined it came up with the definition and it fits it. So I don't know what to tell everybody that don't like it. Hebrew, she told me, was a dead language. It was not a dead language. Basically, they spoke Aramaic over there. There were always Jews there. They got along fine. But the Zionists came over and they kidnapped the Mizrahi Jews kids, just like we did with the natives here, and beat their language out of them. And so that's, I think, what you're referring to. I mean, it's a language, so we can't say it's fraudulent. I mean, my show's called the Derp with Kurp.
Well, Hebrew is a Semitic language. So if you go to like the Ugaritic text that's written in the original Semitic, you basically are reading Hebrew.
It's a language family. It's not genetics.
Yeah.
So Arabs are Semites.
Yeah.
If you haven't read the Greek source, Ammon. Okay, I think Hillman might be right that if you hadn't read the Greek sources, I think Ammon Hillman's a little too into Greek and a little bit into wackadoo drug stuff. However, I would talk to him because I'm curious why he thought it was preposterous to be accused of astral projecting around the school he taught at when he teaches this stuff. And he says he was in Jerusalem and somebody told him he's the Antichrist. So then I'm supposed to think it's ridiculous that you could have floated into somebody's room when you just got done telling me you're into that. But maybe he's got a good explanation. I'll hear him out. Far as animals go, dolphin would make the best bong. Well, look, I only dressed up like John Lilly on Joe Rogan as a joke, and I don't actually know dolphin science.
Maybe an anteater's front. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to really do a lot. Talk about 10 years of research. I'm like, okay. There's a theory relating Hebrew to blacksmith craftsmanship. I think this sounds like the Jehovah's volcano god stuff is what reminds me of. Nahash rhymes with copper and Nehoshet. Keep on derping the free world. Okay. What you know about that, right, Gary?
Nahash is the serpent.
Theory of relating Hebrew to blacksmith.
Like Yahweh's Vulcan or something, I'm guessing, I mean?
Well, Prometheus.
Well, yeah, but you're really you're trying to transplant different gods in different positions from different pantheons to try and get there, and there's no direct sort of link to that. Yeah, but yeah, when you look at the the copper snake that's put up in the desert.
What is that?
What is it?
Yeah, why a snake? I actually don't know.
Yeah, well, I understand in Hebrew there's two words that are going on here. One is nahash for an actual serpent.
The brazen serpent, right?
And one is seraph, which can mean a poisonous serpent or a seraphim angel that, and so there's what's going on in the middle of the desert there is that they are being poisoned by copper-colored snakes. I write about this in book 2 and give the complete botanical name.
Oh, I haven't got to it yet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. And so what God does once they repent, he says, form this head of a seraphim and put it on a post, and people who look on it are going to be cured, right? So then what happens downstream where, the word that was put up on screen there basically means a copper serpent, right? And that is being worshipped as an idol downstream in the Book of Kings.
Oh, that's right. I mean, I could see how, that snake. Wow. Right. Now, why are seraphs? And I've heard this not just from you or other people. I don't know why I thought seraphs were described as different than being kind of dragon looking, but is there like some variation on that?
No, seraphs are serpent-faced, six-winged angels.
They are serpent-faced. That is
that work in front of the altar in the fiery stones, which are this copper sort of color as well, right? So
they're walking around with Daniel in the.
These are also like beings
not
of
Daniel.
light.
Who got thrown in the furnace? Shadrach, Abednego, was that?
Yeah, it's not clear who the angel is in the furnace. So we don't get enough information even in the Hebrew on that. It doesn't say seraphim there. So, and these are the ones that when they take a physical form, they take a serpent face, they take a dragon's face. So now if you think about dragon creator gods in
Pretty
China,
ubiquitous.
yeah, if you think about the feathered and plumed serpents like Quetzalcoatl and all of the gods.
You made the best point on another show. I don't know which one, but what do they say? Dinosaurs have now feathers. So
Yes, now
So
they
also, these are
Yeah.
also a
And-
lot of times these are metaphors for plumes of light. When
Yeah.
you have the plumed headdress.
Well,
Yep.
you know the horn thing that he had horns coming, like that Moses
Yeah,
with horns
horns as
is
well.
so bizarre, and I didn't get taught that he had horns when he came down. I thought it was like
Yeah.
his face was radiating or something.
Yes, it was radiating light after.
Why
Yeah,
did God
so-
say? Oh, can I ask you this? Do you have anything on this about why he said you could look at my backside while I move past you on Moon Mountain, on a place called Moon Mountain? What is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was all about.
You can't look on me, but you can look at
Yep.
my. And then you'll watch Jordan Maxwell, a guy who
Yeah.
is no Gary Wayne. I'll tell you that in terms of reliability. Well, why was he moving the bozos?
Man, he was just a storyteller.
There's a lot of scams with him, and for some reason, the Nation of Islam loves that guy, and which is odd. And I know the Nation of Islam uses Scientology for their followers because I was told I can't remember who told me it, but these wizard schools, their final initiation is to invent a religion. So L. Ron Hubbard did it, and Joseph Smith did it, and my religion, Charles Taze Russell did it. They were left-hand path Rosicrucians. All these people, it's like you took a class on how to set up sales funnels or earn money at home. Oh, earn money without work at home. Like those modules are selling. Stupid Andrew Tate. He set up a whole. I'm gonna get the guy from Hidden Amaruka channel, which is great channel of like decoding occult stuff that makes me laugh a lot because the memes. And Andrew Tate set up a whole Freemasonry, and he had this guy fake name Iggy Semmelweis, so who's like some nerd from Orange County, the pickup artist.
Sounds Jewish.
It's not his real name. His real name might be Jewish, but yeah, no, it's like Eliphas Levi or something, right? You pick a fake name.
So what would Iggy be short?
Shalom Shlomo.
Ignatius?
What's that? Ignatius? Sure. But what they do is they do lots of double entendres and plays on words. So then you shorten it to Iggy. Well, Iggy is short for Igigi in Sumerian, which is Igigi, which is a watcher or an Anunnaki.
That's what that creep Colonel Corso said he thought the Greys were Igigi. Oh, so I didn't know it was pronounced like that. I'm glad you told me. I've been saying Igigi like a real jerk.
Yeah, and it's rooted in Sumerian for Gigi, which means an eye or to watch, right? It's same as watcher in Hebrew, where it's Ayir for watchers. It shows up in Daniel and means to watch or to be awake, or a watcher angel, the top 4 classes that surround the throne, like Seraphim would be one of the watchers.
Okay, Value Customer says, why did YT stop censoring Franklin cover-up stuff? Interview with Rusty Nelson from 2005 is back. He talks about snuff films with Hunter S. Thompson. I didn't want to believe that at first, but then it's of course that's, first of all, how did Hunter S. Thompson traipse around with a big warlock bag full of drugs, famously around important politicians this whole time and never get arrested? Johnny Cash couldn't even sneak a couple of Vivants in his guitar without going to jail. But this guy, well, oh boy, and I never heard of adrenochrome before him. I never heard of it. That's the first time I heard it was him. How do you pay for his lifestyle and stuff when he couldn't write anymore because he's in a diaper and he's hopelessly addicted to drugs? Then I read the eulogy from his assistant, which was one of the creepiest things I've read because she's not condemning him, but she says one time he kicked her out of the house for not watching a snuff film with him. Okay, because the reason I stopped censoring because they don't care. You can what are you going to do about it? Nothing. You don't got to kill nobody. You don't got to be violent. Stop consenting. They need your consent to do these awful things, and all you got to do is go, I'm not consenting to that, and I'm telling you, the whole thing could collapse. Okay. Honorable Judge Kurp, thank you for recognizing that I am a judge. Have you watched the Jody Hildebrandt documentary on Netflix? Feels like some monarch-related SHIT in the cult of Mormies. No, what is that? I'll look into it, though. Wait, is that the thing in plain sight where the guy kidnapped their daughter twice? Is that what that is? If it's that, then yes. If not, I haven't, but I'm going to check it out either way. Okay. Feck me. Oh, you're Scottish swearing. Is Gary giving us the abridged version? LOL. Yes. Well, he's on a show with me. And as you know, I'm a big loudmouth and I've gotten your criticisms. You need to interrupt the guests way more. I think I do it enough myself. I don't know why you guys asked me that, but yes.
Yeah, it's not easy when you have a whole bunch of people to go real deep, like we're just hanging out.
I get very excited. This is almost like you're not really a show. You're just like listening to one of my phone calls with somebody. Like it's not. I'm not good at it. It's not called the Well Run Podcast. It's called the Derp with Kurp.
We gotta jump in between your rants.
Yeah. No, Gary. I can't recommend Gary's stuff enough, man. There's almost nobody. You never see that a guy that believes in it that does that level of scholarship objectively. I've just almost never seen that. So it's really I really appreciate that. I got to tell you, man, I really appreciate it. Okay. I grew up Mormon. They had me going, but I knew something was up with all the rituals, special undies you weren't supposed to ask about. You couldn't ask about them? I'd have a lot of questions about those undies if I get it. Well, it's a coven. I mean, not you, but it's, again, that's another one. A coven they have sheep as a cover. Like all these ones. It's always got to be they feed on you like a vampire. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. They're finite. Okay. That's what 0 point energy they talk about. That's God. They don't have access to that, I bet. That the novelty, that's God. See, these losers aren't creative. They are in a coffin, and they got to project it on you as if you're a prisoner. I don't think I am a prisoner of evil creation. I think somebody else is, and they want me to think I am. Kurt, what did you think about Professor Zhang telling you he wants to start his own religion? Okay, I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad you brought it, because I just treated it as a joke, because he said he at one point he's like, yeah, I'm trying to be the Messiah. I'm like, is that a joke? I don't want to get into it with him, so I'm just going to treat it as a joke. But I have no idea what the hell that meant.
What was that one in Korea? I think it was the happy something, happy sun or happy. I can't think of it now.
Well, have you seen the Mormon son that moved to Pennsylvania and he has a crown of bullets? He's always on the Steve Bannon show. If there's anybody out there, fans that know how I can get it. Sun Young Moon's son, who lives in Pennsylvania, has a rifle church with like a golden bullet crown, and it's Etsy don't have them. I don't want to have to make one. If anybody knows how I can get a replica, please let me know, because that will be a great costume next time I'm on something. I'll dress up. I'm gonna have a camouflage sport coat and a golden M6 whatever AR and a bullet crown. Okay.
It's Happy Science. It was called Happy Science.
Anyway, I thought it was very strange he said that, and I didn't want to dwell on it because I was like, this just seems like a lot to get into that I'm not even going to be interested in, because listen, Jesus isn't, people fight if Jesus is black or white, and I go, hey, Imagineer, whatever you want, as long as it's not Korean, we got no problems. Okay, I'm kidding.
What was the Happy Science religion?
Can you? Yeah. Oh, Happy yeah, science. I do remember that, but I don't remember all. Yes, I have heard of that. Can you derp this? What about Jesus? And he spelled it like Zeus, being a Greek myth adaptation to make one temple and God plus. How come the god of electricity, Zeus, and his offspring get worshipped by everyone in tech? Well, I've heard they worship the one from Zoroastrianism, Ahriman. But I don't think these names. I really don't care about the names of the dumb con artist Nigerian prince scam entities they worship. The bottom line is you got to have blood for it. They wants blood. Whatever the thing
is similar to Baal,
Yeah. So what I would help with people to understand that is understand the sciences come from the mystical religions through the mystery schools. They honor their pantheon of gods, and what people don't understand is Zeus is the same as Osiris, or the same as Baal, same as Anki. It's the same top 7. They just have different vernacular names and localized, sacred mountains within the different cultures as civilization unfolds. So they honor their gods and everything. And there's a biases towards Greek gods in the West, but you see other names being thrown in there now as they sort of go more global with it.
Yeah, and we still
why is there?
We still do it. We still do it today. Like when you
yes,
have a place of power, or you're an
stupid Olympics.
You name it after that, right? So in the past, when they had a powerful body of water, they named it after a powerful body of water from the sky.
Yeah, right. Well, I always keep asking people, like, because remember the offensive Olympic ceremony with the fat guy in blue, Dionysus and Jesus, and then like a little girl there, and one guy has his wiener out in the corner. It was just, and people are like, what is this at the Olympics? And my question is, it's the Olympics, right? The eugenics festival to the gods you supposedly don't worship. Why do we have that at all? Why do we have that? It doesn't make sense. Oh, because these creeps at the top, some of them, their name for themselves will be Olympians. And it makes a lot of sense, because in those myths, They act like the most depraved Hollywood Pizzagate people you ever heard of, don't they?
Yeah.
They act. Why is Zeus got to do some weird? I mean, it's just like the creepiest pederasty and BC. All this
It's the
gross.
holy wood, the sacred grove.
Why would I?
So
Why would I ever worship a thing like that? Why do you like it? Why do you think it's good? It's crazy.
the Olympic Games was designed for demigod giants as heroes to compete, and then if they won, they received a laurel wreath. Which again, I won't go through all of the minutia on how that relates, but that's the crown of the gods.
Yeah,
the solar wreath.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable to me how obvious it is when I just kind of like tilt my head. When you said the fairy thing about that being, because the Bible's a bunch of fairy tales, but the reality is fairy tales are a bunch of Bible for other people.
Well, they have. It's we've lost a lot of the knowledge. They have some of the most advanced knowledge within the mythology and the sacred writings. Like I'm starting to uncover a lot of it. Like when we see the Ankh of Egypt, I'm most likely understanding that this is the coronal mass ejection from the sun, the loop.
I've seen some things that I gotta have you on to do because we're getting some plasma stuff. Because
I'm writing a book on this now, bro. I've been talking.
I'm all about plasma now. Yep. That's the big. Okay, I'm underwater. Can you explain left-hand path quick, please, or research where we can learn about it? Well, everybody's got their own version, as far as I know. Gary, you studied this, so maybe you know a better, according to Hoyle version. I don't. I just know it as the people that want power. This is the shortest path to power for them.
Yeah, I mean, the left-hand path, it's got a lot of different sort of imagery that's in there. And when you look at who sits at the left-hand side, if you see an imagery of Jesus sitting on the right-hand side, it's usually, a mother goddess, right? In polytheism. And the mother goddess, a lot of times is, considered higher up in polytheism than the male god, so that when you get into Sophia, she's at sort of the apex in Gnosticism, and somehow marries as nebulous life force to create the 12 archons, right? And so you start to see that as part of the imagery, but because Satan was originally an angel, and Jesus is, the word of God, Jehovah of the Elohim, sits at the right-hand side. Satan originally would be sitting at the left hand as part of the other side, the male side of the allegory. And understand within these systems, they have male and female allegories on everything,
right?
And layers and layers and layers, and you learn more of it the higher you go up in the depths and the mystery.
You know why? Because they're doing pervert sex magic, and you can't just tell people the gross things you're going to do. You have to feed them a mystery sandwich full of crap first.
Yeah. So the quicker way to power in the physical world is through either the mother goddess or through Satan, however you want to interpret that, versus the long wait that we're going through in the age of the Adamites until the end time is done.
Good answer, man. Thanks. Okay. Aquino Casino is pretty funny, dude. Thoughts on profits from OT? Is it weird to email you? Dangerman@yahoo.com is my email. No, it's not weird to email me, but I don't know profit. Are you saying profits like a prophetic and not money?
Yeah,
profits?
I think they misspelled
profits from the Old Testament. I would read that.
Thoughts on profits? I listen. Since here's something really upsetting to me. I almost never get to my crazy conspiracy theories, and they're so crazy, but I never get to them because just telling people reality of normal terrestrial dudes with nothing from space, people think you're making it up and it's a conspiracy. So I don't know, maybe they're just people that saw a thing in front of their face, but from what I understand, it's some kind of important thing where you're predicting a real prediction is what I think it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about prophets, whether you believe them or not from the Old Testament, and they had something that was unique in their qualification. You had to prophesy on the short term and the long term. And if you were 100% wrong, if you're 100% right on everything you did on the short term, they stoned you to death. So to survive.
What? I didn't know that.
Yes. So to survive, that's the litmus test.
Or skinned you alive with a blunt instrument.
But why, if you were right in the short term, what is that? Why would that signify to be stoned?
No, if you weren't right, you've had just one mistake. Yeah.
So they didn't go, you couldn't make a prophecy that you're not going to be responsible for if it didn't work out.
Yeah.
like
So
that,
yeah. So they did both, and the ones who were 100% right, they kept those writings, and you got to live until they killed you anyways for whatever other reason, because all the prophets were killed. But
Yeah, martyred.
because the power, the ones who were running the nation, I mean, they didn't
Yeah.
like what the prophets were saying.
Right. They're drunk on the blood of the prophets, as a matter of fact, as it says in the thing. Emmanuel Swedenborg tells the truth of the Bible. Hey, listen, Johnny Appleseed. I don't think he did. Okay. You know, Johnny Appleseed was a Swedenborgian. Weirdo. He would get ahead and he'd find out where they were going to be settling in the Indian land, and he would sell them the apple thing. He had a whole scam going. I've never heard, just so you know, Swedenborg, you're like, surely not Swedenborgs, like the other awful things I've heard about them. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. There's a bunch of people will tell you. And the thing where although I do like the story where he's Enoch projecting to the depths of Hades, and then this guy pops up and his genitals are on fire and he looks like a ghoul, and he's like, we 300 men in hell are the most, we run everything. And Swedenborg says, oh, you're insane. Well, no, if that really happened, which is questionable, that creature is right. Satan runs the world. That's what it says. Yeah. If you're Christian. Yeah. So no, Swedenborg's he's way off on that.
Yeah, and if people want to know biblically why we would say he runs the world, he's called the prince of the world, the god of this world. But when Jesus is at the end of his 40-day fasting in the wilderness, Satan offers him every kingdom in the world if he would just bend his knee to him. Right?
It's a really good lesson, that particular part. I really, even not believing it when I didn't believe in it, because it was like wax on, wax off. I'm so drummed in my head. Things like that really helped me in a lot of bad times because of that. Because you really can get offered all kinds of things that just bend the knee and compromise.
Yep.
And just be a little evil, you just got to be an adult. That's what adults do. We have to be a little evil.
Talk sometime, for sure, man.
Yeah. I look, man, I don't really have an ability. I literally have a Muppet-like face, so it's very easy to read me. So I'm not able to do that. You're going to know how I feel automatically on my dumb face. Okay, wait. Do you think Kobe Bryant was a sacrifice before the COVID ritual? No idea. Although I will tell you a quick story about that. My friend worked a Diddy party where Kobe was at, and Diddy insisted that they had to give everyone this drink he made. This doesn't sound good. This is a long time ago when Kobe's like, and Kobe wouldn't drink it because he only smoked weed, he said. And then my friend said one of the girls that worked there, this black girl who had a secret drinking problem, I guess she drank it and passed out. She was just passed out in bushes. So my friend had to carry her while all these celebrities, are off their tits on something, and they're pointing and laughing as she's carrying this girl. So it sounds like a cavalry hill. She told it to me. I was like, wow, that's a creepy story, man. Anyway, I don't care about basketball, and I don't care, stop. Don't idol worship. Kurp, please let me help you with Bible translation. I've just made a video about it. Well, your name is written in Hebrew, so I don't even know what it is. So you start by translating that, but sounds cool, man. Okay. I'm always into learning stuff like that. Gary's blew my mind several times today. JR says, Kurp of Girth Magistics, when are we getting War Mead or Alt History? Oh, War Mode. I gotta hit them up again.
Girth Magistics?
Oh, because when I was going on, I went on Jesse Michaels' podcast with Jay from Project Unity, and I was calling myself Kermes Tresorgasmus Excalibur. I had this whole title because I just learned all this stuff, and that's my friend Mike Malice. He always does these dress up things. And he goes on. He doesn't address it. He just he'll be wearing a ridiculous really. It's kind of occultic. That's what Crowley's crap is you're projecting your domain on people. But I just want to tell people these things I found out, and if I got to dress up like an idiot to do it, that's cool with me. If I got
dress up like a Rabbi Harry Wiener,
I'm going to get that book down, and then you'll have to listen to me. Okay, wait. Did you ask Gary if he'd debate Ammon Hillman? Why? You want to see Gary talk to a guy? Hey, here, I'll be him, and we'll do it right now. Jesus, drugs, man.
I don't even know who he is.
He probably won't do my show because I did that, but maybe he will. No,
I'm sorry, man. I don't know.
Wait,
I'm not aware.
That's what I'd like, J-Man. Will you find me the old videos of Ammon Hillman before he looked like that and was a fat guy with a beard who looked like JD Vance? I'd like to see that again because he got possessed by something. I don't know what. Aaron, did you ever know you're my hero? No. And everything I would like to be and fly higher than eagle for you, the Derp. No, I didn't know any of that. Thank you. Is this the last one? Your talk about Ormus. You guys know about Ormus?
What, the monatomic gold?
Oh, but that's the fake kind. The real kind is mixed with ground up human pineal gland, pituitary gland, and lung tissue.
Starfire.
Yeah, and then there's some I don't know, Jack Parsons wiener magic under a full moon. I don't know, but it makes them live longer. And generational. Remember you saying about blacksmiths? Generational funeral home directors. Like that guy they caught that had all the bodies. Generational funeral home directors. You got access. That goes back to Egypt. You got access to bodies. You can do all kinds of weird stuff.
Yep.
What's better, Big Chuck and Little? Wow, you must be a Cleveland man because that's where I know Big Chuck and Little John from. Superhost and John Lanigan prize movie or the current late shows on TV. I don't watch any of those. I don't care about him. I've done a few of them though, but who cares? Who cares about that crap? Okay, the collab. Yes, sweet baby bombs. Bob Lazar, 1999. Aliens view us as containers. Yeah, Linda Bolton House says they call us containers, and she's like, a container can mean a lot of things, and some of them bad and sexual. Just so you know. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what you call a soul in a body.
Yeah, I would be
vessel,
positive
right?
and hope that's what they mean.
That they want to put their spirit into.
Matrix, I was like, well, Joseph P. Farrell, who does my really good work on, especially black plasma stuff and all the UFO and Giza and all that. He's Orthodox Christian, but he's a genius. That dude, he's got really great stuff about that. And the way he put it is they kind of thought your body was inside your soul back then, not the other way around. I know there's the parts of it,
yeah,
but it's a toroid, or your body's so if your soul's rotten, you'll reflect it.
You would like my work too. It's very similar.
I never heard anybody say anything like that before, but it's a very interesting thing, and I've since heard more things that, well, whatever. Okay, Matrix movie 1999. Humans were containers as they were originally, and they were not supposed to be batteries. It was for to process the reality of the Matrix. They were doing like a peer-to-peer server, but the producer said no one's going to understand people don't know what that is. Make them batteries. Adrenochrome is in the Doors of Perception. What's the Doors of Perception? I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Well, I'll look it up. The Aldous Huxley. Recent Elon Musk interviews on 2026. Humans won't have to work for money. We can be used to produce. Oh God, yeah. Jay Burmis. Nobody wanted to listen to him, but he was right. We're getting that technate. That's why Venezuela and the Greenland and parts of Canada. Because
I think we want to be very concerned about what we consume in terms of energy, because the energy it's going to take to power the AI, we don't have enough for, and we're the biggest competition for that electricity and power. So look for some reverse aspects to why it would be nice to maybe cut us down to 500 million or something. Oh
yeah, that big RC, that Rosicrucian Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
Which was a big mystery, but no, it's just Rosicrucians. And get you down to controllable and turn you to There's like the two factions of white and black hat. One wants you in some medieval peasantry with some weird papist thing, and the other ones are just pure Satanists, I guess. That's the only thing I can see difference between them.
Look for more brownouts starting to hit next year. If it's not this coming year, if it's not this year, it'll be 2027, because the ramp up of the requirement of energy, we have no ability to keep up with the advancement of AI. And those who run this world have said we got to develop AI as fast as we can. Yeah. And it takes an incredible amount of water.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no. It's going to be, and it doesn't work, by the way. But it does work in this way. They're going to, once you get to Generation Alpha, so the millennials hate the boomers, right, and the Zoomers and whatever. So it's just two generations of people, and most of them aren't even going to breed anyway. So that's cool. Cut it down, and then Generation Alpha has no expectations of anything. They don't expect to have a house or an education, or money or healthcare. So you see how easy it is to control you. You just gotta have I have two generations at war, and I have male and female at war, and I have all the imbalances of these psychopath occultists, and I just got to do that for a couple generations. Like you're all dogs that live less long than me, because you notice these people in Congress, they're not exactly clean living, but they live to be 105. Nobody thinks that's suspicious. All right, I'm gonna go off too long. Kurt, we need a game 23 conversion. I don't know what that is, but thanks. Joan of Arc and Das and Dace. I don't know what that means. Mr. Wayne, any thoughts on the Druze of the Golan?
Well, it's an interesting group for sure. We haven't heard a lot of them with what's been going on in Lebanon over the last number of decades. But, the Druze have an ancient relationship with Mount Hermon. Golan, if people aren't familiar with it, is on the Golan Heights where Gilgal Raphaim is located and the gateway of Hades. What's that?
Oh, I didn't realize that's a Golan Heights. I don't know why I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the place of Og.
So
is Gog Magog and City of London the same thing or a different thing, like they say?
Gog and Magog are giants that are portrayed in London as protectors.
It's not one giant named Gog Magog.
Well, no, Gog is one giant, Magog's another giant, and Albion's the third one that's thrown in there for the City of London as protectors as well.
It's right there, man. It's really creepy. Okay.
Yeah.
Ask these sages where they. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Gog and Magog and Albion were post-Diluvian antediluvian giants from the god Iapetus, which was a parent god.
Iapetus?
Yeah. Okay. Iapetus.
Oh, okay. Because I want to look it up. Yeah. Ask these sages.
Sometimes spelled with a J.
Who's the one that you pronounce it? Yeah, dude. It looks like Aya something. It's pronounced yeah, dude. That's my favorite. All ask these sages where they think Glenn Danzig lies within left-hand path. I think Glenn Danzig lies within the path of the giant head, because boy is his head big and weird now.
You ever see that video a long time ago where he got knocked out backstage by another band member?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Dude, yeah, I love that.
If they truly believe in these gods, then why are the elite allowing Islam to take over Europe? Because think of private equity when they drain all the value out of the thing and it's time to get rid of it. Europe's being intentionally demolished by the people that run Europe. That's intentional. We're going to do it 1984 style. We're going to have Oceania and the Eurasia and whatever. That's why we need the Greater America Project. Who knew there wasn't just a Greater Israel Project? There's a Greater America Project, which is why we got to kidnap Greenland on fake cocaine charges, apparently. Thoughts on Kenneth Grant? Is that the guy who took over OTO or something?
Yeah, Kenneth Grant was the Starfire ritual guy.
I mean, dude, look, there's no power I want bad enough to do something like that, I just like it's just so gross. I guess it's the Hermetic thing. You have to be so inverted that you're a little part of the hologram.
Yeah,
they call it
Temple of Satan. All those guys are.
Yeah, you can pollute. Jay Parker, who I would recommend people look up. He's from Arden, Delaware, which is the blue collar feeder cult to the Rose something it's called, where the real important devil worshippers live. And his story is harrowing. And it sounded crazy at first till I learned a whole lot more. And they think they're polluting the end. They think. It's all this Kabbalah crap where they think they're going to like spiritually bungee jump. You ever read Faust? And Faust at the end, it's okay, Faust, because you did it to help mankind so you can go to heaven. Oh, I can see why you guys like that one. what a collection. But I think once you get your mind lower and lower like that, you can't reason anymore. That's what I think happens. Like King Solomon. Gary, thoughts on the Seven Mountain mandate? Dude, I forgot to bring it up to Gary because he's mentioning the 7 liberal arts, and now we got these dominionist creeps from here at Joaquin and Boaz, TPUSA, who believe in the 7 spheres of dominance.
Yeah. 7 mountains, 7 major gods, 7 major civilizations, 7 major holy mountains around the world. So it's imagery that's antediluvian. It's part of the Golden Age movement back to the age of Atlantis, or the New Age, as it's understood in the New Age. They will be, I think, sort of local cult centers of religion, and look for the major one, though, to be at the Septimonium in probably Palatine Hill in Rome. But I would look for that pyramid and that Daughters of Babylon understanding of that from a Christian perspective in 7 major religions, 7 major civilizations. But the problem is it doesn't really fit with going to 10 empires. And that's where you get into sort of the conflict with some of the imagery that we're getting out there. So I think there has to be something that sort of brings that imagery together, and I've not seen what that is, that stitches that religious and the requirement for the geopolitical setup together on that.
Well, I mean, first of all, just so you know, so the picture of her where she's going like this, and they go, it's just sign language for. Was Charlie deaf? I don't think he was. No, I was in a Christian congregation. I know if I said no, I'm just doing sign language and did this at them, that wouldn't fly. So that's Luciferianism, 100%. First of all, I think the bitch is a clone, but you don't have to go with me there. But okay, let me move on because I'm gonna go off. Mormon Monarch mentioned using beetles to dispose of bodies. That rang true to me because it is niche knowledge. There are ground beetles that do it. I feel like I just assumed there was some kind of beetle that did it. But J.R. Sweet, who I'd love to have on the show, I left his book at Rogan's. It's called Mormon Monarch. It's all about his time in the Monarch program, and what an eye opener. And him and Mount Shasta in particular, I would pay attention to. Oh, do you know anything about it? No. Oh,
Mount Shasta?
Yeah, it's not the Lemurians in there. Put it that way. Yeah. Okay. Wizard Death Music.
Mount Graham. There's a lot of mountains that are really important like that.
Something called the Slough. It was real gross what they were doing. Kurt, I always think of you. One of these new names come out of Thomas Crooks, Renee Good, Alex Pretty. I wonder what I'm supposed to think. I think that they always say resonance. So just how I remember things, and I remember that there's some kind of hypnotic thing which I don't fully understand, but it's a Twilight language, NLP, where you talking to somebody's subconscious, and that's why these stupid patterns are important, because somehow I don't know how it works, but I know that's the principle. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on it, but that's all I know.
I'm not sure what it is.
Twilight language is NLP, neuro linguistic programming. It comes from Hindu or Buddhism or something, and it's just like hypnotic. So in Dune, Frank Herbert always said they did it wrong in the movies where they make it sound like some godlike voice. He goes, no, I'm talking about TV preachers, entertainers, politicians. It's just being able to speak right into someone's subconscious and bypass. You got left and right brain, mommy and daddy. That's why you're supposed to have those, right? And then your creepy government. Well, voice to skull is a little different. But this is like Michael Aquino would do it, or pickup artists do it. Or like I touch your arm, I go, tell me about your vacation. I touch your arm. So then your brain makes happy juice while I'm touching you. And they're doing subtle Pavlovian things. And that's all it is. And that's magic. That's psychological tricks.
Me and Michael Aquino didn't like each other.
Who?
Michael Aquino. I knew who he was.
You knew him?
Yeah.
All right. This is a whole other episode. We'll get that done. Damn, you got Derp so hard. Doesn't Gentile mean giant? Is that true?
Generically speaking, you can make that case, but technically, Gentile is every non-Israelite being.
Oh, so, right. Okay. So we call you worldly or Godgy if you're Romany.
So what happens, though, is in even many of the descendants of Shem, which Abraham comes out of, right, for the Israelites to produce that nation, then other branches from Abraham, when people moved away from Babel, they moved in amongst giant nations all around the world, wherever they migrated to. So there's an intermixing to get to there as well. But technically, a Gentile is a non-Israelite, as in the Northern Kingdom or the Southern Kingdom.
Yeah. All right. Well, we went a long time, man. I really appreciate you guys coming on, dude. Gary, I love your books. I'm really happy you came on. My mom will like this one because she's a Christian lady, and I keep meaning to tell her to read your books because I know she'd be into it. So thank you very much. And then RA, I'll get you in here for the plasma talk.
Bro, you're going to be surprised about that. That's like my main thing. I'm a senior undergraduate in plasma physics, but I dropped the math and I went into the mythology version because I had a background in mythology.
Well, it's pretty wild. It's like most of the universe is made out of it.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's interconnecting everything. When you see a nebula, that's a big millions of light years of plasma.
So my girlfriend had an orb over her. I always make it dumb.
Dude, check out my YouTube. I have them on camera here in the Hudson Valley in New York a couple of times.
Well, hers, she didn't film it. She woke up in San Diego, and she said the way she described it, she said it looked like almost like liquid. It was blue, right? And it was
mine was red.
Down. It was pushing her down on the couch. It was hovering, but she was being forced down as it moved. So that sounds like a
wow.
magnetic field holding in plasma is
Yeah.
what that sounds like, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, mine were reddish balls of fire, like a star color, but red. And they
Well, I
were,
think they don't have bodies. Oikitarian, as I learned a term from Gary, I have a sigil. So I'm some creepy person that transhuman and can't change. So I have a sigil. That's my intention imbued in there. And then you look at my sigil or my brand, then I'm the plasma thing behind you. And I got so I can hijack your senses, right? So you've already been groomed by movies and you've been groomed by all this stuff to see either an alien or a demon or something. And because I don't have a form and I need right. Adam could name the animals. That's like a power, almost like what do they call it? Wave function collapse.
yeah. Wait till you see, dude. I'm getting into the Garden of Eden being actually the magnetosphere around our planet.
Well, okay, Gary. The last thing I want to ask, and I forgot to ask this, is do you think the Garden of Eden is literal fruit trees, or I'm not against it being that or something, whatever it is, but I just it seems like some kind of initiation, like the first initiation mystery religion is Satan initiating Eve, or Nahash initiating her.
So in Eden, that's the land apportioned to God, which is why he gifts it to Israel. It's from the Nile to the Euphrates to Mount Hermon to the Indian Ocean. And he's not just in an orchard, he's raising domesticated cattle. He is raising crops and things as you take all of those words back to the Hebrew. So this is a massive plantation, an agrarian complex. So it is more than just a garden. It's massively bigger than that. So I think, I look at the literal sort of application, and that's the location where Jerusalem gets located within that area, and that's where the millennium Jesus is going to rule from, and he's going to retake Mount Hermon. And so there's that physical aspect that we should recognize, but that doesn't mean God doesn't have another Eden that's in a spiritual realm.
Right. Okay.
Agreed.
I was just curious. That's really cool.
Agreed.
All right.
There's
Thank you,
definitely a
guys.
duality.
Really, like, great talking to you. I'm so happy you came on, so I appreciate it. And there you have it, everybody. You just got derped.